What's up, Zach? I'm Coach Steven with 5 Tool Sports Science. Your dad sent me a video. He wanted me to do a breakdown for you of your pitching mechanics. So I got you here at 91 on the wrap setup. Let me see if you can see that. All right. So taking you out of leg lift, dude, you could do a good job of keeping your weight stacked inside of that drive leg. All right. So you start shifting your weight down the mound. You don't pick up a ton of energy like from your peak leg lift, then riding your hips down. You're not like getting a ton of momentum out of your leg lift as you start riding down the mound, but it wasn't bad either. The other part is you are, it's like a so-so kind of load here. Like as we keep going forward, you kind of start to collapse this knee in, whether that's your drive leg style, of you trying to like slam that knee down, or just it's kind of collapsing in. It honestly looks like you're trying to create some force from this backside, but it kind of looks like it's just rolling down. All right, so I think some issues you can kind of clean up just out of leg lift in terms of how you're riding your momentum down the mound, of picking up a little bit more energy, how you're loading into this backside and setting that up a little bit more. You do a pretty good job here. You're horizontally abducting that arm, going into scap retraction, horizontal abduction, whatever you want to call it. One thing I did see is that like as you get into front foot strike here, like when you hit front foot, this arm action is late. Okay, so when this is late, we'll kind of talk about as you go through shoulder rotation what that does. It's not like crazy late, like you're getting that forearm like somewhat flipped up here. But what happens is like you're already starting to pull this glove side, which when we look at your back view image, you'll be able to see it a lot clearer. But you start to pull this glove side, okay? And so that's gonna initiate your trunk rotation, and then you're still trying to get this forearm to get into an upright position so that it can start to go back into external rotation. So you're kind of fighting yourself. As this thing was late, like it still needs to get up as your trunk is already starting to rotate. Which you still, get forward and get into layback, but you're probably at, you're probably at 150, 160 degrees of layback, where, you could be at like 180 degrees, and external rotation, like that's massively correlated to ball velocity, okay? So getting a little bit more layback in that arm could definitely help you. Going back to a lot of the lower half stuff here, okay, when you're hitting front foot strike, like you are late to get that hip through, which you're gonna see in the behind view as well. All right, so when you get into front foot strike, this is all late. Like this heel is late to kick through, this hip is late to get through. Okay, you still do a pretty good job of keeping your shoulders closed, but definitely a lot more that you could do through this lower half to initiate your pelvic rotation to get this to peak first. Like if we're looking at your kinematic sequence, because this hip is late and doesn't really start to open till like there, your sequence is really going to peak on top of each other. All right, so you can potentially be losing velo there. Let's see, what else do we got here? Going forward, like going into ball release, like you're getting some front leg block, but like you're not at max extension as that ball's already leaving your hand. All right, so when you get to your full extension here, that ball's well gone. So you got some lower half stuff that we can clean up here, specifically in this back hip, through rotating through your hips to create a little bit more separation, getting more front leg extension off of that front leg, fixing the arm action, getting that forearm position a little more flipped up, which might clear and give you a little bit more external rotation, clean up a little bit of that arm action issues. But yeah, those are the big ones. Let me show you some behind view. All right, here's the behind view. So let's see, okay, let's get you in a foot strike. Right there-ish, well, come on, give me one more frame. Trying to get right at your foot strike, there we go. You can still see that hip is late, all right? So just getting the hip to go through a little bit more. You can see this glove side arm, like how much you're pulling that glove side before front foot strike. So in pulling that, it's called early trunk rotation. You're losing some velocity through that. As you start to pull the glove side this way, you lose a little bit of that separation, not getting that hip to peek through. That's just gonna be sequencing, all right? So getting that to sequence a little bit better, of powering your pelvis through, keeping this glove side more closed. That's a terrible arrow, sorry. keeping that glove side more closed, and then like kind of what we talked about, looks like on this throw, you do a little bit better job of getting this forearm position up, but that's still a little bit late, all right? So you can really see some of the issues here of just peeking that pelvis through a little bit more effectively, keeping your glove side closed, getting that forearm to flip up, all right? And then getting a little bit more layback in that throwing arm. You can't really see the front leg here, but I'm assuming it's kind of similar to the one that we looked at previously, where you're just you're getting some extension, but we're not getting like some real dynamic extension into ball release. So those are the big areas I think that you could work on. Back hip, getting a lot more out of this back leg, pelvic rotation, getting that hip to get through. That's going to maximize a little bit more separation, kind of get you more of that stretch through your oblique sling. Okay, getting that arm action on time, killing a little bit of that early glove side trunk rotation, and then just getting some more front leg extension as well. So hope it helps, man.